Welcome to today's English session. I am D.S. Chakravarti, Assistant Professor of English, Government Degree College for Women, Karimnagar. In this session, we are going to look into the topic common errors. In the playlist Common Errors, we have been learning about the usual common errors that occur in conversational and written English, and the explanation and the reasoning behind it we have been learning since so many days. In this session, we are going to learn several more common errors and the explanation behind it. Let's start with the first one. Thankfully and hopefully. People often get confused between these two expressions and they use vice versa. Let's see where they make mistake. Do not say, hopefully we didn't have to wait long for an appointment. You should say, thankfully we didn't have to wait long for an appointment. So what could be the difference between these two? So the explanation is you can say hopefully about something you want to happen. That means the thing that is going to happen in the future. You are expecting it in the future. Say thankfully about an established fact. That means that already happened. In this example, the reference is hopefully we didn't have to wait long for an appointment. That means the thing is over. That means it indicates past. So here we are using the expression thankfully. The next expression is let to go. Do not say I don't let my kids to watch violent movies. We shouldn't we shouldn't allow them to see violent movies. So this expression has meaning, but the construction is not good. Grammatically, there is a mistake in it. So what is the mistake? Instead, you should say, I don't let my kids watch violent movies. So what's the difference between the structure of the first one and the second one? Here, in the first one, we see to after let. And the explanation is why it shouldn't be used. Let and allow both mean permit. When we are referring to permission, taking permission, when we are referring to taking permission, we use let or allow, but let is not followed by to. So the verb let shouldn't be followed by to. Next one, I asked him. Do not say, I asked him where was the remote control. Instead, you should say, I asked him where the remote control was. So the auxiliary verb should come at the end of the sentence. In reported questions, we don't use the normal question structure of question word plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. Instead, we use the structure question word subject plus main verb. So this is the logic behind the rule. I asked him where the remote control was. The question ended with the auxiliary verb. Next one, the difference between too and very. Do not say, I am too happy about this opportunity. Instead, say, I am very happy about this opportunity. Often people get confused between these two. So, what could be the reason behind it? Very in front of an adjective amplifies it. If you use very in front of an adjective, it amplifies the adjective. That means clever and very clever. Very amplified the adjective clever. Here, too means more than the limit. More than the limit. The coffee is too hot to drink. That means we cannot have the coffee. It is too hot. That means too is exceeding the limits. Very means very is used when you are trying to amplify an adjective. Very intelligent, very clever, very fast. Next one, female and woman. Do not say she is the country's first woman president. You should say she is the country's first female president. So, what is the difference between these two? Female is an adjective and woman is a noun. So, just look at the wrong version. Just look at the incorrect version of the sentence. She is the country's woman president. Woman president means woman is also a noun and president is also a noun. So when you want to add an adjective to the noun, that means you want to add an adjective to the noun president, then you should use female because female is an adjective and woman is not an adjective. So that's the logic behind it. Next one, rise, rise, arise. All the three appear similar. Let's look into them. Do not say the government is going to rise taxes. Here you need to identify the word with the spelling RISE. Instead, you should say the government is going to raise taxes. Just look at the spelling. We need to understand the difference between these three words. Let's go through all of them one by one. RISE means to go up or to increase by itself. That means the sun rises in the east, the sun goes up by itself. So that is called rising sun. And the next one is raise means to move something to a higher position. If someone tries to move something to a higher position, then we can call it RAISE, raise. And the third one, arise, is similar to rise, but it is more formal and abstract. Usually we don't use this ARISE more frequently. So that means you need to focus on the first one and the second one, RISE and RAISE. The next one, each of and all of. Do not say each of the students have a computer. Instead, you should say each of the students has a computer or all of the students have computers. See, whenever you look at the word each and it is the subject of a sentence, then you need to remember that it indicates singular number. You need to remember that each indicates singular number. Consequently, you remember the subject verb agreement also. That means each is in agreement with has and each is not in agreement with have. So each of the students has a computer. Each of the students indicates singular number. And whenever we use singular number, it should be in agreement with the singular verb, that is has. Or if you want to use have, then we need to use different subject, that is all of the students have computers. All of the students means plural number. It doesn't indicate a singular number, but it indicates plural number. That's why the subject is in agreement with the verb, that is plural verb, and that is have. We use each of when we want to emphasize the individuality of the objects, as in the case of postcards from different countries. We use all of when we want to talk about the objects as a group. The next one, made of, made from. Do not say these plates are made from plastic. You should say these plates are made of plastic. So what could be the difference between made of and made from? Use made of to talk about the material of an object which has not gone through very much processing. Use made from to talk about one object that came from another different object. So here, when you say these plates are made of plastic, there is no much processing has been done. There is little processing has been done. That's why we use made of. If you can find so much processing, the procedure of processing, then you should say made from that particular element. Both and both of. Do not say both of Tom and Brian are American. You should say both Tam and Brian are American. So whenever you use both of, you should use both of with a plural noun. Use both of plus plural noun. So here both of Tom and Brian plus plural noun plus plural noun. But here we can see the singular noun, that is American. Use both plus two individual items. In the second version, that is the correct version, we can see this pattern. Both Tom and Brian are American. Two individual items we can see here. Next one, using simple past negative. So this is the very basic thing, and lot of people make mistake during this process, and often they do not know the primary things about the English grammar. So what could be it? That is, usually we say I went to Hyderabad, and that is the positive statement. And if they want to convey the negative form of this statement, they say I not went to Hyderabad. We can see in this slide. I no went to the party. That means the positive statement is I went to the party, and the negative statement they are trying to give us is I no went to the party, I not went to the party, I did not went to the party. And unfortunately, all these three are incorrect versions of the statement. And what is the right one? The right one is I didn't go to the party. Remember that the simple past negative is formed by the auxiliary verb didn't plus the simple form of the verb. People often get confused. People often ask us about this simple question. What's wrong with the sentence I did not went to the party? What's wrong with this? Why this is a wrong sentence? What's the mistake in it? See, I didn't went to the party. Here we can find did here we can find did also indicates past tense, went also indicates past tense, and it is absolutely not necessary for two past elements in one simple sentence. So we need to avoid one. So how can we avoid one? Instead of went, if we can use the base form of the verb, that is V1, that is the simple present or the base form of the verb, then we can do things with only one simple past forms. That means did is enough. Did is enough. That's why I didn't go to the party is the right version of the sentence. The next one, hundred and hundreds. Do not say this castle was built 500s of years ago. We can see hundreds of years ago. Instead, you should say this castle was built 500 years ago. 100 years ago. Or you can also say this castle was built hundreds of years ago. That means we have removed the number 5. So what's the logic behind this? When there is a number in front of it, 100, we use hundreds when you don't count how many. Whenever there is a number in front of 100, we shouldn't use the plural. That means we cannot say 500s, 600s, but you should say 500 and 600. So this is a simple thing, but you need to remember this. Gerund as subject. Do not say live in an English speaking country is the fastest way to improve. Here, live is taken as gerund. That means live is used as gerund. Gerund is used as the subject of a sentence. If we take another example, Smoking is injurious to health. Smoking is the gerund and smoking is the subject of the particular sentence. Running is my favorite hobby. Running is the gerund and running is the subject of the particular sentence. Here, live in an English speaking country is the fastest way to improve. Incorrect version of the sentence. And what is the correct sentence formation? Living in an English speaking country is the fastest way to improve. So here we have to convert the subject into gerund form. Gerund form always has the ing form, ing. So in the incorrect version, there is no gerund form. It's a base form of the verb, that is live, that is V1. What did we do? We converted it into a gerund, that means living. Just look at the explanation. When you want to use a verb as the subject of a sentence, always use the gerund, that is ing form. This form of the verb functions as a noun. So if you want to use a verb as the subject of a sentence, then you need to transform it into a gerund, like the sentences we have seen just now. Smoking is injurious to health. Running is my favorite hobby. Next one, by, until. Don't say, I need to finish the project until Friday. You should say, I need to finish the project by Friday. When using by or until with a time in the future, by is used for one specific event and until is used for a continuous event. So when you say I need to finish the project by Friday, you are referring to a specific event, that is completing the project. Next one, assure, ensure, insure. Do not say, she ensured me that she would send me the information as soon as possible. And the and you should say, she assured me that she would send me the information as soon as possible. So the thing is, we need to know the meaning behind these three words so that we can use them correctly in conversations. So what is the meaning between these three? What could be the meaning of these three? Assure means to tell another person something to remove doubt or anxiety. That means you are emphasizing, you are giving them faith, you are making them trust you, you are giving them assurance. Simple to say. Ensure is something you do to guarantee a specific result. That means you are confirming again, you are rechecking, you are verifying, you are taking necessary measures, and all these come under ensure. Ensure means the something, ensure means something you do to guarantee a specific result. You are focusing on the result. Ensure is when you get a financial plan to pay for any damage or loss to a person or a thing. Just remember the word insurance. What is insurance? Insurance is of two kinds. One is life insurance and the other is general insurance. And I think we all are acquainted with the word insurance. Unless you understand the concept and the meaning of these three ones, you may not be able to use them properly. 15th one, less, least, more, most. Do not say he is the less popular teacher in the school. You should say he is the least popular teacher in the school. More and less are comparatives. We already learnt about comparatives. It comes under degrees of comparison. Clever, cleverer, cleverest, fast, faster, fastest, and good, better, best. So here, more and less are comparatives and most and least are superlatives. That's why When you say he is the less popular teacher in the school, you are using a comparative degree that is less. The word less indicates comparative degree. When do you use comparative degree? When you have two objects to compare, then only you can use comparative degree. But we can't find any other object in the sentence. That means you are comparing the teacher with no one, with the entire school. That means you are comparing the teacher with the entire school, and it is not the equivalence. That means you cannot compare a teacher with the school. So here we cannot use the comparative degree. Instead, we can use the superlative degree. Out of the all the teachers from the school, he is the less popular one. That means he is the least popular teacher. Next one, number and amount. Do not say the amount of children who are overweight is increasing. You should say the number of children who are overweight is increasing. The amount of children, the number of children. If you can remember collocations, you can answer these kind of questions very easily, because the amount of children is not a collocation and the number of children is a collocation. So what could be the logic? Let's look at the logic. Use amount with uncountable nouns. Use number with countable nouns. So here children is a countable noun, because we always use it to, because we always ask how many children do you have? I have two children. Two children means it's a countable noun. So use number with countable nouns, that means the number of children. If you are using uncountable nouns, you may use amount. Amount of milk, amount of water. Specially and especially. Do not say this program is especially designed for business English students. You should say this program is specially designed for business English students. So the difference is especially and specially. Let's look at the explanation. Specially means for a particular purpose, especially means exceptionally. And here in this example, it indicates a particular purpose. The particular purpose is it is designed for a particular group of students, that those and that are business English students. So this is the simple thing we need to understand. Adjective order. Do not say the house has an old beautiful stone grey wall. You should say the house has a beautiful old grey stone wall. When you have to use multiple adjectives in a series indicating one single noun, you have to use the adjectives in a particular order. And if you breach the order, if you change the order, the sentence appears odd. Haven't, don't have. Do not say I haven't a car. You should say I don't have a car. The verb have is used in various situations in English. When have is used for possession, the correct negative form is don't have. Here we are expressing the possession. I have a car is a positive statement. I don't have a car is a negative statement. I haven't a car is a incorrect version of the statement, because in possession, whenever we are expressing ideas about possession, we shouldn't say I haven't a car. Hair and hairs. Do not say my girlfriend is washing her hairs. You should say my girlfriend is washing her hair. So instead of the plural, we are using the singular number of hair. When talking about the hair on someone's head, hair is an uncountable noun. It is possible to say hairs if we talking about individual strands of hair. So the logic is simple, but you need to focus and understand. If you are referring to the hair on a person's head, then you can use as uncountable noun. That means her hair. No plural, only singular. But when the hair are taken out from the head and placed on a table or something, individual strands of hair, if we are referring to individual strands, then we can say here are some hairs. That means we can use them in plural also. That means we are using as countable nouns. That's why we are using plural. Twice more expensive. Do not say singing lessons are twice more expensive than dancing lessons. You should say singing lessons are twice as expensive as dancing lessons. So this is a simple thing you need to understand and you need to practice in the conversations. If you are comparing two things in general, you can use the structure more expensive than. If you are quantifying the comparison with twice, use the structure as expensive as. Give to. Do not say Ben gave to Susan a diamond ring. You should say Ben gave Susan a diamond ring. Or you can also say Ben gave a diamond ring to Susan. Here we can see two objects. One is a direct object and the other is an indirect object. This sentence has both a direct object and an indirect object. The indirect object, Susan, is the person who receives something. Here the something is nothing but the ring. Here the something is nothing but the ring. The direct object, that's the diamond ring, is the object that is transferred from the subject to the indirect object, that is Susan. So don't be confused, don't be puzzled between indirect object and direct object. Almost all the times indirect object refers to human beings and direct object refers to things. So if you can remember this, you can move on, you can understand and move on this topic very easily. Two forms of used to. Do not say I am used to play basketball but not anymore. You should say I used to play basketball but not anymore. So the difference is I am used to and I used to. There are two forms of used to in English. They are used to indicates accustomed to, that means habituated to. Used to oblique didn't use. So here are the two things you need to remember.